into the cloud. Okay, you're up.
I am up. It's so funny. We have a note in the chat right now that says, "I'll take the Georgie and Patty show for 500." We were just talking about Jeopardy and about Ken Jennings and being the guest host coming up. And anyhow, welcome. Welcome to Building a U-Shaped Business with Georgie and Patty.
I'm Georgie.
And I'm Patty. And I'm super excited about today's show because my partner's talking. So today our topic is purpose, and Georgie is amazing at helping people discover their purpose and their why and their values and figuring out what they really want for their lives and then making it happen. So we get to hear from Georgie talking about her probably her very favorite subject.
Yes, it is definitely one of my very favorite subjects. Yeah, you're gonna get exactly what you're hearing today.
Awesome. So take it
away. Okay, so let me share my screen.
And yes, Georgie is amazing times a million.
There's my Facebook. There we go. Okay, everyone can see that. So here we are at the U-Shaped Business with Georgie and Patty. And I guess, why does my thing never like to work right off the top? There we go. We are here every Wednesday, well, most Wednesdays, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, where we share different thoughts, topics, ideas on how to build a successful business that's based on your purpose, your values, and your personality. And so today we are episode 88. Like, woohoo, right? Rap reminded me of that, right? Yeah. And so, yes, we're talking about one of my very favorite subjects, and we're going to talk about really the power of purpose in your business and why you need a purpose in your business, according to me. So, if we look at things now, kind of the current state of business now, sort of that traditional language is really about money, and the system that runs business is typically around ego, right? And if you look at current things, it looks like who's bigger, who's better, who can get the most. And we're always striving for more. And often there's a mindset that we see around business and marketing that really where we're justifying kind of manipulating, being deceptive, and doing unethical practices without any regard for the damage or the consequences or the impact that these things have on the humans involved in our businesses. I believe that this needs to change. I believe that we need a new system. And I think if we look at our current world situation, it's kind of a testament to that. And when we think of a new system, I often like to think about kind of as transformational change. And when we have any kind of transformational change, it does look at the system as a whole. And there's kind of one system in this whole world we live in, and that system is really called life. And everything we do can serve that system, including our business, because our business and how we operate our business is part of that system. So maybe instead of looking at the value of our business based solely on the amount of money we make and how much profit we have at the end of the year, what if we started to look at the value in our business as more of a humanity quotient, right? What if we could actually raise the humanity quotient by building a business that's designed around our purpose? So my quote of the day is from an entrepreneur in the Netherlands, Kees Klomp, and he says, "Stop doing business and start being human. And the business of business is to serve life." And I really resonate this because as someone who's pretty passionate about purpose and how I like to see it in kind of everything, and what can we do to make the lives of humans better and make people feel like they matter and they're cared for. I love this idea of looking at our business as just being humans in our business. And Patty and I talk about this a lot with our clients and with the show, is like, often when you're having a problem, if you could just stop and be human, start there, it makes things a lot easier. So to start this off, let's look really at what is purpose. When I'm talking about purpose, what am I actually talking about? So my definition of purpose is doing something that's actually bigger than yourself. It's something that makes a positive contribution to the whole system. So we're paying attention to that. It's a verb, there's action, it's a behavior that we're taking. Often purpose is happening in real time. It's not something that we kind of just discover, figure it out, and we put it on a shelf, but it's actually happening in real time as we go throughout our life every day. It's something that you feel. You can really, purpose is not just an intellectual process. It's something that kind of resonates with your whole being. And those of you who have done a purpose workshop with me or why workshop, you know how excited I get, because when someone gets it, it is a fully visceral experience, and you can see it and you can feel it. And often this is why a purpose can be really challenging to articulate. The other thing of purpose that often people sometimes don't connect with is that with purpose, there's often pain involved, because purpose sometimes comes from a pain or a suffering that we see in the world, and it's something that we either want to ease that pain or we want to eliminate it. And when we do that, purpose also has a very big compassionate piece to it, right? It's taking someone else's pain, it's kind of seeing it as our own, and then really wanting to do something about it. And I think that's why there's such a pull when we do have a purpose-driven business. And often, when we build our business around our purpose, it's driven from our own personal mission. So it's built on an area that we really care about, an area where we might see an injustice, an area where we see something's broken, an area where we're like, I'm not okay with that, and I don't want that to happen anymore, and I want to do something about it. And the key to this thing is, if it's really a problem that we want to improve, we want to look at the solution that we're providing. And is the solution something that we really want to do? Because if the solution is something we like doing, for instance, like if I love doing, helping people discover their why. How I do that is usually, it's working one-on-one with somebody, really talking to them, really getting to know them, really being curious and understanding the human being in front of me. I love doing that. I could do that all day long. I like that solution. That solution is something I'm going to stick with because I like it, basically. So it's really starting to think about that when you're looking at the solutions that you're providing. So this is my friend, Ryan. And Ryan is the founder of an organization called Veterans Off Grid. And I was talking to Ryan last week and was connecting with someone who might, be a good partner for him. And I was asking him to just kind of share a little bit about Veterans Off Grid and kind of what it is. And he started with, he goes, well, in a nutshell, Veterans Off Grid, we save lives. And that's his purpose. Ryan was in the Army in Afghanistan. When he came back, of his unit of 112, 6 so far have committed suicide. Ryan also at one point was going to take his own life. So he founded this organization because he wanted to save lives. Now, how he does this, his solution is to build sustainable off-grid communities. Why? Ryan's really into sustainable off-grid living. He loves the whole food security. He likes building homes that are powered by solar. He likes community. His solution works with him. So it's allowed him to, hang into this thing, even when it's challenging, even when no one's showing up, even when it's hard to get volunteers. But he loves the solution he's provided, and the organization is built on his purpose, like his mission that drives him every single day. And he's really clear about it, and he does a pretty good job of articulating it. Now, often when we think about purpose, sometimes we think it's this nice, big, fluffy thing, and it's too woo-woo. So I thought I would actually share some hard, cold statistics for you. So for my people that love kind of the facts and the stats and why you would want to bring purpose into your business and build it on that, I found so many stats that I'm going to share with you. So number one, consumers seek brands with purpose and they are more loyal to them. So here we go. 64% of global consumers find brands that actively communicate their purpose more attractive, which means if you are a business, you want to be more attractive to your buyers, it's really, really important to be able to actually articulate that purpose so that they understand it. 52% said that they would actually buy from these brands over other brands if that brand aligns with their values. You hear me talk so much about values, values, values. So being able to show those values in your business and really mean them and really have your business align with the values is going to help you attract the right kind of consumers. Nearly 8 in 10 say they feel a deeper personal connection to companies that have similar values to their own. So if you have someone who might be, shopping around a little bit and you do a really great job of clearly, I think, showing your values and sharing them, you're going to have a better chance of finding the consumers who are going to align with you. Those future clients, they're looking for you. And this is one of their little, almost like the heat-seeking missile. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, values, love it. Next, purpose-driven businesses perform better in the market. Now, I know that most of us here are small business, maybe solo type businesses. So performing in the stock market, we're not public companies, is not something we're doing. However, I still think these stats can be just useful to show the power of purpose. So, come on, little guy, there we go. Brands with a purpose that set out on improving our quality of life, which I do believe a lot of our clients and a lot of people that build U-shaped businesses, they are looking to improve the lives of people. Like your clients and the people that you work with, your service does help to do that. These kind of organizations outperformed in the stock market by 120%. That's a pretty big number, pretty big number. I really like this one on looking at the growth here of purpose-driven enterprises on this little study. Like they grew by 1,681% compared to the S&P average of 118%. Again, another big margin. And even though your company may just be a little company, I still think this gives like an overall picture of people are looking for purpose-driven companies. Like it really, really matters. This stat I thought was really relevant to right now. Companies these are like certified B Corps, which again, I know we're not B Corps, but that's okay. We're purpose driven and we're making a difference. In the financial crisis of 2008, they had a 51% revenue growth rate. Right now, we're kind of in a state where we're not really sure what's going to happen with the world. You hear it all with the pandemic, and there's lots of, I guess, hypotheses on what's going to happen. Most of them look bleak. However, I think if you're in a purpose-driven business and you're clear about what that is, you're probably going to have a better chance maybe of writing this out and coming out even better on the other side of it, if history repeats itself, which it typically does. People seek meaningful, engaging work, even if it means sacrificing income. Again, a lot of us may not have, or probably don't have a lot of employees, but I think this still goes to show what people are actually looking for, right? People are looking for doing work that gives them a sense of purpose. They want to be around companies who have purpose because it's more meaningful for them. LinkedIn, 74% of the members on LinkedIn place a high value on finding work that delivers a sense of purpose. So if we are purpose-driven businesses, small U-shaped businesses, and we are looking for maybe partners on LinkedIn, we're looking for people who can refer to us on LinkedIn, I really believe that if 74% of the people on LinkedIn, purpose matters, you are more likely to find connections with people who would want to help you if you are a purpose-driven business and you are able to articulate it and show it, that your business is built on that foundation. 9 out of 10 employees are willing to trade a percentage of their lifetime earnings for greater meaning at work. And I think greater meaning in their life as well. So I think as a coach or a consultant or someone who really helps people change their life, if people are willing to give up some of their lifetime money for greater meaning at work, they're probably also willing to give up some of their money to find more meaning in their own life, to find the job that's going to work for them, to create the life that they really, really want. So I think that's kind of an important fact too for some of us here. Purposeful work increases productivity, loyalty, and well-being. So when I saw this stat, I thought about, if I'm building a business and if I'm doing it just for money, how productive am I really going to be over the long term? How excited am I going to be to do this business every day and show up to do the things that are required when building a business? Because the reality is some of the things we do to build our business are not things that we totally love to do, but they're necessary. So when I look at this stat, and I think that if someone is, I'm happy, it's cool, I like my business, they're, let's say, the 100% level there. And then that engaged employee is 144%, but a really productive employee who's inspired by purpose is 225% more productive. What would that mean for a purpose-driven solo entrepreneur? If I am building my business around my mission, around my purpose, around what I think I really want to be in this life and this world for, to really make a difference, I'm going to be probably a little more excited to even do the things that I don't want to do based on this stat that they've showed up here. Next, business leaders recognize the need for purpose. And I thought this one here, because we do have some people who work in, their future clients are corporate executives. They're people that work in some of these higher organizations. They're CEOs, they're those kinds of people. So 84% of executives strongly agree that business transformation efforts will have greater success if integrated with purpose. So if you are a coach or a consultant and you are working with these kinds of CEOs, executives, high-level people in organizations, they care about purpose. But notice that only 46% think their organization has a strong sense of purpose. That might be a little in for you. And my last little stat for you here, because when we talk about the whole system and how our business fits in the systems, is that 9,913 companies from 160 countries are currently members of the UN Global Compact. And what they're really looking to do is they're looking at how do we support these sort of sustainable development goals in the world. So this is important when you think about your business and how it fits into the whole entire system. And I think sometimes when we are just smaller businesses, we think, how am I really impacting the whole world? Like I'm in my own little corner working with just a few people. I'm just kind of this tiny little thing in here. But the truth is your business does impact the whole system. And so it's important when you're making decisions in your business that you think about your purpose and you think about how what you're doing does impact something a little bit bigger. As an example, in Dublin, they decided that they were going to remove a lot of the benches that they have like along the sidewalks in the city in front of the shops and things like that, because they wanted to eliminate the homeless problem. So the homeless people were sleeping on the benches and they didn't like it. They wanted to stop that. So remove the benches. But what they didn't realize, because they didn't look at how this would affect, say, their whole system of even just their little community, was a lot of the seniors in Dublin that don't drive anymore, they walk in to do their shopping. They need those benches because they can't walk for long periods of time. So without the benches, they had no place to sit and take a little bit of a rest. So they were then unable to do their shopping, go out, kind of socialize. So removing those benches, while yes, it stopped the homeless people from sleeping on the benches, it also impacted the ability of the seniors in the community to get out and socialize. And so they became a lot more isolated and became more lonely. So this is just kind of one example to start to think about how one decision to solve a problem might affect the whole system that we often just don't think about. So now I'm going to share one more story with you about this and I just heard about this dude, Ali Kassel. And he founded this organization called Cycling Without Age. And I think he's a really great example of really how to build a purpose-driven business. So we start out with kind of step one, right? What is your purpose? So Ollie's dad is in a wheelchair. He's been in a wheelchair his whole life. And so Ollie used to push him around in the wheelchair. And, you know, there were certain things that they couldn't do because his dad was in the wheelchair. They couldn't play catch. They couldn't play baseball together, those kinds of things. So he was walking down the street in Denmark one day, and he kept passing this older fellow sitting on a bench. And he kept thinking, wouldn't it be great if I could get this guy on a bike? Because Ollie likes to cycle. So he cycles to work like every day. And so he's kind of talking to this guy, and then he was like, oh, you know what? In Denmark, I guess it's a normal thing to have kind of these rickshaw kind of bikes. So he went and rented a bike and asked the guy if he wanted to go for a ride. And the guy's like, oh yeah, I'd love to go for a ride. So he takes him for a ride, and they ended up going to a care home and just asking if any of the residents there would like to go for a ride. And so they're like, yeah, took the lady for the ride. And then the next day, the manager of the care home phoned, and he's like, what did you do to Gertrude? Like, it's totally changed. Like, what's happening here? And he's like, would you come back? So then he started going back to the care home when he could, just to take the senior, and he actually calls them elders, for rides, because he started to recognize that they were lonely. They were feeling isolated. They were missing just being outside. And through taking them for the bike rides, he also got a lot out of it, because they started sharing stories and sharing like what it was like to live even in his old neighborhood a long, long time ago. And he was feeling a real connection to these people and wanted to start to share their stories. But his bigger cause was really wanting to spread kindness and generosity and to let them feel the wind in their hair again, because they hadn't felt that way in such a long time. So that's how this started for him. Then what happened was other people started asking if they could help. Could we take people for bike rides? He started getting donations of the rickshaw bikes. His organization has now grown to 2,000 chapters around the world with 33,000 volunteers. And it was built from a very small idea, something that he was passionate about, his purpose, and his solution was cycling, which he loves to cycle. And I think he's been doing this for 5 or 6 years now. He still goes out and takes seniors on bike rides, even as how big it is, because he loves it. He's really, really passionate about it. So when we look at these different stories and we think about building, really a purpose-driven business that can make a real difference in the world, what are kind of the steps to make this happen? So number one, get really clear about what your purpose is. Be able to articulate and define it for yourself and for others. Define your values, and then use those values as the guiding principles to build your business on. Because when you have these two things, you actually have a really powerful way to connect with people, to connect with your future clients, to connect with people who might want to partner with you. It creates a really, really powerful dynamic. The next thing then, from your purpose and your values, from that space, look at the problem that you want to solve. And when you've done your purpose work, you will start to see some clear problems that are not okay, that you want to find the answer to. And then come up with a simple solution that you're really passionate about. I think often when we're starting to build our businesses and get our business set up, we try to make things so complex. And Patty and I were talking about this too, where you want to add, our definition of value, and want to add so much stuff to our programs and what we're doing that often we overwhelm people, where if we could keep the solution really simple, it usually goes over really well. I mean, like Ollie there, bike rides, like people bike rides, like simple solution to loneliness for people and isolation for people. make it really easy to understand. In a talk that he was given, he often talks about, can you make your idea easy to understand in a picture? Could you actually draw a picture of what you do, or explain it in a few simple words? And I was like, oh, I'm going to try to do that. I haven't done it yet, but I was like, could I draw a picture where if someone could see this picture, they could clearly understand what I do? So a fun little challenge that I'm going to play with and see what happens. And to start small, right? Just, it doesn't have to be this giant, big, huge thing. You don't have to start out thinking, you know, I'm going to make some system changes in the whole business world. You know, it doesn't have to be that crazy. I'm going to create a whole new sustainable model for the entire world. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be really small, right? One simple bike ride started there. The important thing though is to take action, to actually do something. I think I'll take this guy for a bike ride. I rent a bike, I take him for a ride. Seems to take off, right? But start some movement. And then start to find that correlation between your service, your actions, what you're actually doing, and how it does change the world. How does it fit into the larger system? And when I think about like the work that that Patty and I do, and in building these U-shaped businesses, you know, we really want to kind of take on these unethical, manipulative marketing practices. We want to change how business is done, that it can be done in a really authentic human way, in a way that cares for people. Like, we really, really believe that. So if you look at how we fit into this bigger picture, it's that. It's really creating big change, one person at a time, one little business that we work with, right? Because there's ripples effects to everything that we do. And then this other piece that I thought was really, really interesting that Ollie shared was that don't consider yourself a do-gooder. And what he means by that is that don't think that you are only giving and not getting anything in return from your clients. And Patty and I talk about this too. For the people that we love to work with, it's people that we can learn from. It's people that we are excited about their work. It's like, oh, this is really cool. What can we learn from what they're doing? You know, it really is it's a relationship. You know, it's about, I don't even like to say, it's not give and take. Like it is actually a relationship. It's a sharing, it's a collaboration. Like, we like to work in this collaborative way where it is, you know, learning and growing on both parts. And Ollie was sharing this, saying, you know, often if we do this sort of do-gooder mentality where it's like, look at me, I have a purpose-driven business, I'm helping so many people. And, you know, it can often lead to that martyr syndrome. Look what I do. Oh, I was doing this, you know? So I thought that was just a really good point that I wanted to share. And then when I thought, I'm like, oh yeah, when I think about the clients that Patty and I love to work with, it's definitely this collaboration piece. And, you know, what can we learn? So we get something from our clients. So the other piece of this is I want to give you permission to go slow, to actually take the time that is required to look inside, to do some reflection, to really figure out what is really important to you. What is your purpose for being here? What is that problem that you really get on your soapbox about, and that pain or that injustice that you're like, yeah, no, you know, and take some time to figure out what that is and what might be the solution that you could provide for people. And then, is the solution that I come up with, is it one I would want to do? And you may have come up with lots of ideas. So give yourself permission to try different things. You know, Patty just said this yesterday in our call, you know, you can date the idea, you don't have to marry it. So, which I think is so good, you know, so allow yourself that time and that space to slow it down, to really find what works for you. Because often we're just like, fast forward as fast as we can. How do I make this stuff happen? And we try to get these concrete plans, and there's no need for that. Then we beat ourselves up when it doesn't work, or we feel like we're not good enough. And it's just like, no, that was just the wrong idea. It just doesn't really fit with me, because maybe I haven't spent enough time being quiet and getting to know me to know what really works. So if you need a permission slip to slow down and go, take some time, you got it. And then the other thing, is we are all change makers. It's these tiny little things really, really do change the world. Small acts of kindness, they make an impact. And I think as purpose-driven businesses, the more of these that we have in the world, we really, really, really can transform the way that we do business in the world. We can begin to bring in more humanity into business. And when we do that, it brings more humanity, I think, into our world, into our daily interactions. And it's going to be business and social entrepreneurs that are going to lead this social change, I think, that we're looking for. It's if we care more about life, more about humans, the animals, the planet, and how we're all interconnected, instead of just kind of this ego thing about give me more money and how much bigger can I get, and it's all about me. When we make that shift to recognizing how connected everything really is, I think that we really, really can spark that change. And we can move from what Tony Riddle, who's the natural lifestylist, he calls it really moving from an ecosystem into an ecosystem, like looking at how can we create, this harmony and this care for everyone involved. And I think that's really where the power of having purpose in your business comes into play, because we're doing things that make a difference, and it's totally possible. And I think everyone, especially the people that are probably listening to this all the way to the end, you are one of those people. So yeah, just keep doing you. So that's what I got for today to share. Any questions, thoughts, comments, amazingness? Checking the Facebook.
Total amazingness.
Woo! Because we just have amazing clients.
I love this. And, one of the questions I like to ask sometimes, what if everybody did this, right?
Yes.
Like, what if everybody did this?
Imagine.
I think that's one of the ways that you can kind of tell whether or not you're doing something that's sustainable and you're doing something that's actually good, right? And it's just like, and it's so easy for so many things to fail that test, right? Because you're, me looking at the negative, right? But like when you look at this materialistic, how can I get, build this business and amass this huge pile of wealth just for me and buy all of these material goods and stuff like that. It's like, what if everybody did that? Well, bye planet Earth, right? Like
exactly.
It's like, so what is the option, right? Like what's the sustainable option? What's something that, where the business actually does some good for the people and for the planet, and is also something that feels fulfilling and satisfying. And it's like when you start making this list, like a checklist of all of the things, right? This is where it all comes back to, is having that sense of purpose, feeling fulfilled, doing something that feels, feels good to you, makes a positive impact. And it's like, what if everybody did that? It's like, we'd solve all of the problems that we're dealing with, right? If each person, if each business even just, took that, that itty bitty little piece that they were gonna clean up or fix up or solve or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Instead of this, trying to solve for how can I make the most money the fastest. It's just like,
yeah. And
that's my purpose.
Hoard it for my own good. Like, I think if you look at what they say with the top 1% or whatever, you look at some of the billionaires in the world, they could take all that money they have sitting there and they could feed every person on the planet.
Yeah.
Like it's, so imagine if everybody did something purposeful or, and really thought about the other inhabitants of our earth, right? And I think that includes like our plants and our animals, and it's not just humans, it's our oceans, it's all our living systems, and how can we impact that with what we do.
Yeah. And how can we also, like in terms of communication, how do we shift the perception of like, let's quit worshiping the billionaires and see them for what they are. And instead, like, what if we, gave the attention and the adoration to the people who are making a difference, and
Exactly.
maybe directed some of this shame towards the people that are hoarding. Like, we get pissed off at them hoarding the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Why don't we get pissed off with this, 8 people in the world, like, sitting on so many piles of cash, right? Like you say, it's like they could choose to do good, and instead they're just too busy stacking it up to show that they've got the most.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, how do
And
we
I
shift that?
and I think this is where, and I think we're starting to a shift, especially with consumers and people that we are spending our money. And so it's looking at, it's not good enough to just have like your purpose statement on the wall. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know that you are living that, and that it's not just, it looks really good. And it's like that cartoon. Actually, I was going to share that cartoon that you shared about the, the purpose, and basically, oh yeah, we need purpose. So what do the ad guys come up with? Basically, it's not
Exactly.
built on anything other than it's a great marketing ploy, because the stats say people are buying from purpose-driven companies. Oh, we better get one.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna add purpose because we think we're gonna sell more. And then there was I need to dig this up, but apparently I love Mark Ritson. Anyhow, Mark Ritson is this marketer from the UK, and it's just like, he is so great. And he talks about the idea that if you truly have a purpose in your business, it's going to cost you money. It's not going to make you more money. It's like, it's a trade-off. It's like, you are making a stand that this purpose is more important than my profits. And it means that you're going to turn down money, because you're going to turn down slime ball contracts, and you're going to pay more to live by your values and stuff like that. Like, it's like there's a bit of a sacrifice to it.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't be a billionaire sitting on your stack of cash and also have a purpose-driven business. It's like there's a decision in there that the purpose in doing good is more important. And I need to track down this video, because I'd love to hear what he has to say for it, because he does consulting to corporations and stuff like that around marketing. And it's like, I think that that's an important part of this. It's like, we are making a choice. We're choosing to be smaller, to be greener, to be more sustainable, to pay people a living wage, to be good to the environment, and all of that. It's like, that shit costs money.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like, you're choosing. It's like, okay, we're going to put the money into this stuff instead of stockpiling it.
Exactly.
Like, on the bigger, on the bigger picture. Like, this is why there's so much freaking resistance to this, right?
Exactly.
But for us little guys, it's like, this stuff isn't that hard. Like, I believe that there are opportunities in here for us little guys.
Totally. And I think the more of us little guys that keep doing this, our little guyness is going to grow.
And
and
I think the flip side of this too is like, where are you spending your money, right? Like, this has been so top of mind for me.
Yeah.
It's like, there are lots of options for what communities do I join, what books do I read, what people do I let into my brain, who do I follow, who do I pay for courses and coaching and consulting, what technical platforms do I use, how do I make that choice, right? And I've been in this place right now. It's like, this kind of thinking and planning and reflecting and what are we doing next year, and making some kind of strategic investments, right? And it's like, okay, what email list provider am I going to use? What course platform are we going to use, right? And where do I come back? Who's behind this? What are their values? And I'll tell you, where the features and functionality are more or less equal, that is so easy. It's like, who's behind this? Oh, slime bag marketers. Who's behind this? Oh, look at this. They've got a page about their values, and they talk about how many women they have in leadership and how they value diversity and how they're wanting to make a difference in the world. And I'm like, huh. Well, isn't that an easy decision to make? Like, it's just like so easy. It's like, yeah, I feel good about giving these people my money. And I am very hesitant to give these people my money, right? And it's just like, okay, there's where the decision is made. And I think that this is behind where you're giving those stats.
Exactly.
Is I'm not the only person who's doing this.
No.
There are a lot of people who figured out that voting with your wallet is important.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's just, I think we're moving into, and as there, I heard, I can't remember who was doing this talk, but it was a talk, and it was talking about the millennials, right? And they're like, you hear a lot about millennials being entitled and this and that, but millennials are looking for meaning and purpose. And as they get older and as they're spending their money, that's where they're looking to put it. I think, and I think more and more people, just like you said, is I'm going to use my dollars for good. Because every time I buy something from one of these skeezy, sleazy people that are doing more harm than helping, I'm basically condoning that behavior. I'm saying I'm okay with that because I really want.
Or they're okay with that. I'm actively supporting that. I'm going to give those people my money.
Exactly. I'll give them my money because I really like this purse, or not that I buy purses, but anyway, I really like this purse so much. I'm willing to just look away. And I think this is where kind of we can justify the behavior. We do our best to, justify these actions that are unethical, that are manipulative, that are deceptive. But we're like, well, it'll be okay and it's like, that's actually not okay. And if I'm really clear about why I'm here and what my values are, I need to make sure that I'm in alignment. And that means, where am I spending my money? Who am I spending it with? It's like in, I think it was it George Cow that had said, like, when you like something on one of the social media platforms, is you're basically you're in support of that. Like, it's like, yeah, I'd buy that, or right. So it's kind of those kinds of things, like really taking things down to everything we're kind of doing on a daily basis and looking at, is it really in alignment? I mean, you can drive yourself crazy with that, but ultimately it's.
And I think too that this is like a spectrum,
Yes.
continuum, whatever. Like it's
totally.
like we need to live, and we need to work within a fucked up system. It's the only word.
Yes.
It's like we don't always have all of the great options, and sometimes it's like we're living in a system, and the striving for perfection is really difficult. So it's like, yes. Okay, what's the best that we can do here without harming ourselves in the process. It's just like, and I think it's an ongoing project.
Exactly.
I think it's worthy of thinking about. And I think it's also worthy of cutting ourselves some slack. I mean, Mark Silver wrote a really good kind of a post about the idea of, like, he's not big on Black Friday, like Black Friday being like really a celebration of consumerism. How much shit can we buy in one day, right? And he's way more of a fan of buy nothing. And then he's like, and at the same time, I know a lot of people are struggling, so Black Friday deals, it's like there is a trade-off, right? Like, it's not 100% evil, and there's no like hard rule for this kind of stuff. It's like you got to make the best choice for who you are.
And I think that almost brings in kind of that humanity piece of it, right? It's about giving people a break, having some grace, and recognizing that we're humans, and we do the best that we can. Like, and I think it's kind of, if you're going to buy something, if it's something you need and there happens to be a Black Friday sale, great, awesome. I think where we can get stuck sometimes is that we're buying just because there's a sale, and it's not even anything we need, but it's there's a sale, I think I'll buy that today. But yeah, I think that we have to have a little bit of care for ourselves as well, as we do the best we can to navigate this, because like I said, the majority of the system is super screwed up. Like, it's built on a lot of this manipulation and unethical things. And I think we see it with purpose-driven people too, because we're not even sure what's out there. We think this is our only option. We think this is how we have to market and do things. And that's one of the things we want to, bring to the world, is that you do have other options. You don't actually have to do that. It's there's different choices, but sometimes we don't know what those are.
Yeah.
So we do the best we can.
Yeah. And I'm just seeing out the corner of my eye, a comment about wrestling with continuing to support Facebook and continuing to support Amazon. And it's like, you are inside my head, because those are things that I am personally wrestling with right now, is that. And George Cow actually wrote a really good article about the Facebook kind of dilemma, about using it for for promotion of a small business, and how it's really helpful that way, and there not being other options. And it's just about, how he arrived at his decision to stay on Facebook, and how he was using it mindfully, and just basically focusing on the good part of a not so perfect system. And I think those of us that are kind of idealistic really want to take the hard line. And sometimes we end up really hurting ourselves doing that. Ask me how I know. And I think sometimes it's just like, okay, hang on a second here. What's this going to cost? And maybe this actually makes sense in this way that I am doing it. But worthy questions. Really worthy questions.
Mm-hmm. And I think even just having the conversations, and I think it's really good too, to even be able to say, yeah, I'm still using Amazon and I'm really struggling with it. Like, I'm still on Facebook and I haven't found an alternative for what I'm looking for. And I recognize that this company does not align with my values. I would prefer not to have my time here and support what they're doing. And I'm not sure what the alternative is for me to continue to do good in the world. So, I think it's okay to have those conversations as well.
Also, it's kind of, okay, well, what if everybody decided that, we were just going to use Facebook for good? Like, what would that look like? Like we were talking about yesterday, about, spreading sunshine and good news, and stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
So I'm seeing that we have actual questions in the Q&A box. So one of them, and it's a great question, because I do want to highlight this, and but on your slide about how to build a purpose-driven business, make it easy to understand. This is the opposite of what most course creators say, to pile on the bonuses to show the value. Is this part of what you're saying? Thank you for giving me a frickin' soapbox.
Yes, go. We were just talking about this.
Because, and it relates to the Black Friday thing too, right? Okay, me mindfully going into a situation, we want to find a platform to host our courses on, and to hold our videos, and to do the admin stuff. It's like, we've gotten to this place where that stuff is becoming unwieldy, and I've been looking for evaluating the options, and I made the choice. Like, I knew what I was doing based on what they had on their about page and their values and stuff like that. And what the hell, I'm even just going to name it. It's Thinkific, and it's a Vancouver company, and their values are great. Like, I just love their mission and their values and all that. Well, right when I'm doing this research, like, probably because they're listening in somehow, I get an email from them saying that they have a Black Friday special coming up. And so I'm like, okay, and to click here if you want to be on the list to be the first to hear about it. And I'm like, yes, because I'm going to buy from you and you're going to save me some money. So what the hell, right? Well, then the Black Friday package comes in, and it's like, and it's full of this, what you're just saying, the piled on value, courses and other discounts on other things, and You could either get a stand for your phone and a light or a new microphone. And I'm like, I don't need any hardware. And the last freaking thing I need is more courses and information and stuff like that. Like, I'm trying to wean myself from that. So from my perception as a consumer, this was not adding value. It was actually adding weight, and almost like, okay, so if I buy this thing, I'm getting all of these things that I'm not going to use. And part of me is like, well, maybe they'd be really good, and they might be really good, right? But I'm thinking, you know what would be really valuable to me? The discount on the pricing that you promised, right? Like, which was part of it. Like, that would be valuable. Maybe some kind of a really fast forward how to onboard, like how do you get going with this system. It's like, that would add value to me. Like, if they had like a, we're doing a 3-session get up and running really fast kind of a course, right? Like, that would be helpful to me. Not these distractions. I don't need a course on podcasting. It's like, no. It's like, no. I don't need any courses on marketing or anything else. I just want to use this system, right? But this is this whole idea. It's value. It's this pylon of value with the assumption that that's helpful. And I think maybe that was that's maybe something that's kind of run its course, because I think now we are so overloaded with so much information coming in to us that like
I think simple works. Simplify, break things down to not too much information. It works.
Yeah.
It's easy.
It's like, what's the stripped down?
Yeah.
And I've noticed this before, like in programs that I've offered, and it's like, we are always kind of on this edge. It's like, how do we provide more value? How do we provide more information to people? We talked a while back, like adding another day to the Momentum program, so there's more support, adding more events, adding more workshops, and it's just like, and the feedback that we get from participants is like, no. Not more stuff. I'm already busy, and I need to just implement what I'm learning now, right? So it's like, okay, how do we peel it back? How do we, it's this is the big problem that we have, is this discernment. And I think, just to circle back to purpose and values can really, 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 really help with the discernment, can really help with the overload. It's like you can shovel a lot of shit right off your tray because you're like, doesn't fit.
It's so true.
Misaligned values. Nope.
Exactly. It is an awesome filtering system. Like, it's literally yes or no, and then you can eliminate so much, and then you've got your yeses there that then you can go through. But it's one of the reasons I'm just so passionate about it, because it makes your life easier, and you are more fulfilled when you're really clear about it, and you're doing those things, and you're doing more good in the world. Like, it's just awesome. I was seeing like this comment too, like when there's so much stuff, really, I feel guilty because I can barely learn the basic information. And I think that is what happens when we're in courses and programs and they're piling on so much stuff, and you haven't even had time to implement the stuff from, the last month. So you do start to almost get that thing of like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Is everybody, everyone must be able to do this, but I can't. And we start to beat ourselves up, and really it's information overload.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I saw something in there about, what was this in the chat about? Too much information causes me to freeze, and then I struggle to actually move forward. We could have a club for this.
Yes.
That's my problem too. It's like, it's too much. Where do I start?
Yeah.
How do I sift?
Exactly. Oh, did you see this one? What's the next workshop you two are planning to offer?
That's kind of timely. So we are, there's going to be a theme. It's going to be a theme coming up over the next few weeks. But the next workshop that we're going to do is actually going to be a new and improved version of the Discovery Weekend. It's going to be about designing designing a U-shaped business. Sort of, we're in this. I mean, I'm in this place of reflection and planning and visualizing. And Georgie is too. Yes. Okay. It's like, it's this space, looking forward into January and looking forward, 2021. What is that going to be about? So we're going to be talking about that, figuring out what you really want, the purpose stuff that Georgie talked about today, but really mindfully designing, redesigning, tweaking the design for a U-shaped business. Going forward into the new year, figuring out what it is that you need, making some decisions, and taking this time right now. A lot of us have time around the new year where, like, that there's time off. Business kind of slows down in some ways. There's a chance to reflect. Everybody's doing it. So there's a lot of talk about this, right? But we're planning to do that course. If you'd like, kind of save the date, we'll have some information out. But it's going to be the week of what is the week of December 14th to 18th. So we're taking what was a weekend, and we're parceling it out into 5 structured classes with accompanying homework. And this is going to be the first class that Georgie and I are producing for like the online program. So we're going to offer it as a do-it-yourself, self-paced program, but we're going to record it live. So if you want to be part of that, that's going to be that week. And it's reflection, design, planning, visualizing for the coming year. So more on that in the next few days. Definitely next week we'll have some more information about exactly what it is and what it costs and how to sign up and all of that stuff.
Yes, but definitely save that week if you like having us there with you to help you as you work through it, because we're not sure that we would be offering it again live with us there after we record it and make it sort of a self-paced thing. So
yeah, this and this is how we do better teaching in front of a live studio audience. So this is the opportunity to do that. And of course, after each session, we'll be there to take questions and yeah. And yeah, times, and we will get the times and stuff. We will get that stuff out like soon, by next week for sure.
Yeah.
What the time are, because we have to kind of juggle our calendars and make sure that we can fit the stuff in. So
exactly. Awesome. 10:30 on.
Thanks for the question. That's a great segue to talk about what's coming up. But yeah, we're excited about doing this as well, because we're kind of doing it ourselves.
Exactly.
It's very alive for us right now.
Very alive, and it is one of those things that it's the stuff isn't one and done. We're always going back and checking in and making sure and reflecting and seeing as we learn and grow what's still true, what's not true, like it's definitely an ongoing process. So
yeah, and I think it's something worth revisiting every year, even if you feel like you have everything kind of set. It's just a chance to reevaluate and make sure that you're on the right track. Like before doing the detailed kind of planning of exactly what do I need to do and when do I need to do it, is taking this, check in with your heart. Is this really what I want to do? This is part of my purpose. Is this a good use of my life energy? Right.
Exactly. Just the Carlos from the Happy Startup School, he says, he goes, does it feel kind? And Does it feel kind? And what's the second one? It's so good. Like I thought they're both there. This is what he calls feeling his way through something. Does it feel kind? And maybe, and does it? Do I want to do it, or does it align with my purpose? But he's always like, is it kind? And then so good. But I think it is that heart thing. If I can remember the other question. But anyway.
Do some people really feel like they have everything kind of set?
I don't know. Maybe for about
I think
10
it's
minutes.
possible. Maybe not in this room.
Depends on the
I've
day
never
that you
felt
ask
that way in my life.
So true.
Except for right now, I'll take.
Yeah. It's a moment to moment kind of thing. That's for sure. All right. Do you know what we're talking about next week?
Oh, something about planning and visioning, and something in this general kind of a vein.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Something like that. A little bit of a surprise.
How we roll. Episode 89.
Woo! Alrighty. Have a same bat time, same bat channel next week.
That's right.
Have a great week in between. Bye.
Bye.